Some of you may be aware that 2 weeks ago my family, the extended Glick family around the world, suffered a tremendous loss with the passing of my grandfather, Menachem Mendel ben Rabbi Avraham alav shalom, and I've been doing a lot of thinking, a lot of reflecting on the life that he lived, and he left us a tremendous amount to reflect on. And some of the things that I can take away from his life to perpetuate his legacy and to just make my life richer, more meaningful, and just to have a better life experience. And I've really come away with some very powerful things, and I wanted to share some of them. If I wanted to choose to start with, if I had to pick what to me I think is the single most fundamental and core central life lesson that I've taken away from looking back and reflecting on the way that he lived his life, it would be that, if there was a list of people who are actually entitled to complain, people who actually have real things to complain about, he'd have been on that list, and relatively high up. We're talking about a man who, as a boy, before the war even started, well before the Holocaust, lost siblings to starvation, to malnutrition, went through 6 years of the Holocaust, 6 years of concentration camps. He was in concentration camps. A day in a concentration camp is beyond what most people today could fathom, thank God. And he lived them for 6 years. He was transferred from one camp to the next, went through several of them, and that was his life every day for 6 years. He came from a large family, 9 siblings. He lost all his siblings. He lost his parents. But if you would ever ask him at any point in his life, any point in any day, and people did, Mr. Glick, how are you? How's life? How are you going? His response was always the same. He had a big beaming smile on his face, and he would say, I'm good, thank God, I'm happy, I have a good life. Always positive. He always had good things to say about his life, and always with a genuine smile and with that trademark twinkle in his eyes. And the question I've been asking myself is, how is it that after seeing the things he saw and losing the things he lost, he was able to be so truly happy all day, every day? And thank God he lived until 94, give or take. And he was always happy for all those years, despite the things he went through, despite having lost siblings to starvation and malnutrition and illness, despite having lost all his immediate family in the Holocaust, and living 6 years in concentration camps, and then coming to a new country with nothing, and not nothing by 2017 standards, nothing by 1947, just after the Holocaust standards for a Jew. Nothing. But he was happy, always with a smile. What was the secret? What was it that allowed him to always just be so happy and always have that twinkle in his eye despite what he went through? And the answer, he gave the answer to that too, looking closely at the way he lived his life and the things that he said and the things that he did, most importantly. He never felt that the world owed him anything. And this is really true for all of us. I owe it to you to treat you with respect as a fellow human being, and you owe the same thing to me. But the universe owes us nothing. He lived his life. He didn't feel that he was entitled to have anything. He didn't feel that the universe owed him anything. He was well aware of the fact that the universe was and is infinitely greater than himself. And the universe has a purpose that's even further infinitely greater than himself. And that the universe and its purpose have a creator, God, that's infinitely greater than the universe and its purpose combined, and certainly than you and I and him. So he knew that the universe owed him nothing. He didn't feel that he was entitled to anything or there was anything that was owed to him. He went through life knowing that he was fortunate to have the opportunity to play a part in the universe and its purpose. He was fortunate to have the opportunity to be gifted by God the chance to play a role in existence. And one of his expressions, that one of the things that he would say more than almost anything else, very regularly, he would say it again and again and again, when people would ask him about the war and the things he went through and the things he'd gone through since the war and how's he so happy, he would look them dead in the eye. And it was maybe one of the only times that he would get really serious. He didn't have a smile on his face, and he would say, Gott ist gerecht, in Yiddish, Gott ist gerecht, und seine Mishpats seinen richtig. God is right, and his judgments are righteous. Now, the depth of his answer is not just the fact that God is right and God doesn't make mistakes and everything that God does is just. It goes a lot deeper than that. It goes into the role that he had to play, the dynamic and the relationship between him and the universe and its purpose and God. God is right. God didn't owe it to him to give him a chance at life. God didn't owe it to him to make him be alive. He could have not been born and he knew it. I could have not been born. All of us could have not been born. We could have never had the chance to live. We could have never been given the opportunity to have or do anything. And he knew that. He knew that every moment that he was alive was a gift. He could have not been alive. And it could have been far worse than it was. He had a unimaginably difficult life. He went through things that no person should ever have to even think about or imagine, let alone go through, and he went through them. Every day for 6 years he was in concentration camps. He lost family before the concentration camps, before the war even started, because they didn't have bread to eat. These are things he lived through. This was his life. He lived it firsthand. But he knew that God didn't owe it to him to even be alive. The universe didn't owe him a chance to exist. He could have not existed, so he knew that the fact that he was alive was a gift. Everything that he had was a gift. The fact that God had given him the opportunity to be alive and to have a chance to make a contribution to the universe and its purpose was a gift. And everything that he had brought him joy. Because it was a bonus, it was a gift, it was something that he didn't need to have, it wasn't owed to him, and when he did have it, it was a reason to smile. Every moment he was alive was a reason to smile, and every moment that he was alive, he did smile. And he was happy. And he was truly, deeply happy, he was authentically happy, because he knew that he wasn't owed anything. The center, the focus of his life experience, of his conscious experience, wasn't himself and his wants and his needs. It was the Creator. It was the purpose of existence. So anything that came to him was a bonus. He didn't live his life thinking about himself and the things he wanted. He didn't feel entitled to anything. The universe didn't owe him anything, and the Creator of the universe didn't owe him anything. He knew that he was fortunate to have a role to play, and he was so thankful. He lived a life of gratitude and thanks to the Creator for the opportunity to be alive and to have a role to play, and to have had the years that he had with his family before they were taken away from him. And because the focus of his life was the purpose of existence and the Creator, and everything that he had was a gift, he was happy. Despite the difficulties that he had, because of his perspective, he lived a good life. He lived a happy life. He had a good quality of life because his perspective was on point. Because his perspective afforded him the chance to live a good, happy life despite the challenges that he faced. And if I had to pick one thing that would be the first thing that I would want to take away from his life, it would be that perspective. It would be to work on becoming more and more focused on the purpose of existence, on the Creator, on the reason everything that exists, the reason I exist. And for that to be the focus of my conscious experience, so that I think about myself less. I'm freer of the confines of being focused on myself. I'm freer of entitlement. And as a direct result, happier, living a more meaningful life, getting more things done, making a bigger contribution to the purpose of existence, and frankly, having a better quality of life. And this is something that was so powerful to me, something that I hope to be able to take away from his life and to implement. It's going to take work to implement it for real, but it'll be a worthwhile investment to perpetuate his legacy, the legacy of his life and the life that he lived for so long, and to just enhance my own life experience. And I really wanted to share it. I think that everybody alive has something to gain, something to take away from this, to bring more meaning to their own life and to just improve their own quality of life. Frankly, I wanted to share it, and we'll see. I just may feel compelled to continue to share things as they solidify in my mind, as I clarify the things that I'm taking away from his life, and I hope that I and the rest of my family and all of us can continue to make him proud and to give him nachas, and hopefully we'll be reunited together very soon, together with him and together with everybody else, the coming of Mashiach.